picks up a first down.
And I'm going to go back to, we talked to our friends, Charles Bishop and Neely. They follow Jackson State football and having dinner with them. I mean, they said this team feels like nobody can score 3 times on them. 3 times. He didn't say if it was 3 field goals, 3 touchdowns. Prairie View has scored twice. Touchdown, field goal. That's how good this defense is. And, whoa, they are as good as advertised.
4th best in all of FCS.
It got to get to the point where whoever we're doing the broadcast that week of the game, they're going to have to sit down with y'all because y'all know us better than everybody.
Sure.
And y'all know some of the inside stuff
we do.
that I may not tell them because I don't trust them, but
sure. Trust us.
Okay. Trust y'all.
We appreciate that.
We
trust.
appreciate that, Coach. Much love, baby.
Are you ready for an upgrade? Then come see what we have to offer at the newly renovated Cadillac of Jackson. You'll be able to browse our wide variety of pre-owned vehicles with great prices. Plus, we've also got Cadillac certified pre-owned vehicles that have been tested, inspected, and ready to go. Our team is here and excited to help you with any of your vehicle needs. Visit today and find your next pre-owned vehicle at the brand new state-of-the-art facility at Cadillac of Jackson, Mississippi's exclusive family-owned Cadillac dealer.
Hey, it's Warren Sapp, number 99 in your program, number 1 in your heart. Whenever I look for Jackson State or Coach Prime information, I go to the Pregame Show.
Here at Cadillac of Jackson, we are excited to show you our brand new state-of-the-art facility. Inside our luxurious showroom, come and browse some of our newest models. When you purchase a new or certified pre-owned Cadillac, we'll have it detailed and waiting for you in our beautiful delivery bay. We've even designed a comfortable waiting room with free Wi-Fi to use as needed while your vehicle is being taken care of by one of our certified technicians. Visit today and find your next vehicle at the newly renovated Cadillac of Jackson.
Okay, so how long have you been coming to Stan's?
Since 1987. I've forever loved Stan's Burgers because the people, they're real people. They help the community and their family own and operate. And the food, the quality, and service has always been phenomenal. And anywhere I'm at, I always recommend people to them. It's great food, and you get enough love for your money. If you need a good place to eat and you want a good environment to support the community and support the effort of the Jackson community, I recommend Stan's Super Burger to you because, like I said,
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for all those who's listening and watching it from around the world. And we are now live from the corner of Dalton and Lynch Street. It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the Pregame with your host, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready because we pregame harder than the other show's party. It's the Pregame.
And welcome into the homecoming edition, Saturday morning edition of the Pregame Show. Bishop and Neely, homecoming 2022. Neely, I tell you what, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson State crown, check. Alumni parties, check. Day parties, check. Frat breakfast, sorority brunch, check. It's game day, bro. It's time to get it on today.
Eyes a kite, check. He left that out. Pull out game week, check. Hey, man, just jokes, man. Just jokes on this homecoming Saturday morning. Chuck, I'm coming to you from downtown Jackson, baby. The parade is going on outside. getting ready to connect with the team. It is homecoming Saturday, man. Happy homecoming to you, bro.
Man, happy homecoming to you as well. You mentioned the homecoming parade. Of course, we have grown up with this tradition that is the homecoming parade, whether, you Cub Scout troop, Boy Scout troop, SGA, whatever, driving the president around, you name it.
Yeah, man. Hey, been there, done all of that.
There you go, been there, done that.
With eyes tight like I'm trying to use. You get homecoming morning, you can blindfold me with dental floss. It don't take a lot.
And now your homecoming is up and ready to go. Neely starts it off with that. Let's get into it. Jackson State coming into this game 6-0 on the season, 4-0 in SWAC play, taking on the Campbell Camels 4-2. They are 2-0, and they come to us from the Big South. A lot of eyes, we mentioned it on Wednesday, will be on Jackson at Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium today. It is a big game, non-conference game, but a lot of FCS eyes. They're looking at this Jackson State Camel matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be a measuring stick in a lot of regards. It is homecoming, and there's always attention on homecoming opponents in the SWAC because typically people are trying to schedule somebody they think they can get the best of to get a homecoming win in front of the alumni fans and build that kind of support from the base. That didn't work in Alabama State. Of course, they scheduled us for homecoming, and you're always going to have a bad time when you schedule Jackson State for homecoming. But here we are now for our own homecoming, and we're in a situation, Chuck, that this ain't some cupcake now. This is not, a pushover. We've been saying it since the schedule was released last spring and all throughout the summer, particularly when Campbell, right after signing day, was right there in that top 15 in their signing class as we were. So this is a dynamic program with a dynamic head coach. And it is going to be an interesting challenge because here we are for an HBCU homecoming, and we're playing a PWI opponent.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Playing a PWI opponent in the Campbell Camels, and we will get into what that team looks like, a deep dive today. But when you take a look at this Jackson State offense coming in, they scored 264 points through 6 games thus far in the season, averaging 44 points per game. Shador Sanders, the Heisman Trophy candidate, Walter Payton candidate, comes into this game 187, 256. Almost 2,000 yards on the season, 1,998, 22 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. He is on pace to outdistance what he did as a freshman.
On pace and going to do it. That touchdown record for Jackson State QBs, passing passing touchdowns in the season is 31. He got right there last year as a freshman, I think, at 29. And he is on pace to blow that out of the water, with 7 games remaining in this season, this schedule. So a lot of dynamic things. Chuck, let me hit you with some numbers. I know we're going to get, this show is about the Campbell game. Let's look into some national stats, if you will. And again, this is not in the SWAC. This is not HBCUs. This is national statistics. Defensive TDs, we're third. Third down conversion percentage on defense, we are first. Meaning we are first in keeping people from getting a third down to a first down. First downs defense first downs offense ninth, top 10. Passing offense 4th in the nation. Passing yards allowed by defense 1st in the nation. Red zone defense 9th in the nation. Again, top 10 in the nation. Rushing defense 4th. Scoring defense 1st. Scoring offense 4th in the nation. Scoring offense, Chuck. Passing efficiency offense 7th. Passing efficiency on defense 1st. Team sacks. Remember, Chuck, everybody said we were going to miss James Houston. What are we going to do without James Houston? Team sacks, 1st in the nation.
1st in the nation, team sacks. And you know what? For all those scoring at home, update your stat book. They went back and looked at the film, add 1 more sack to the sack total. So now Jackson State instead of 7 sacks last week against Bethune-Cookman, they have 8 sacks now. So they come into this game 26 sacks on the season, number 1 in the nation. We've said so much about this defense. This defense has been playing lights out ball, tremendous balance both on the offensive side and defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you can't say enough about it. We're going to keep saying stuff about it. We're going to be talking about this defense 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. And that's something that Coach Bryant has poured into this entire team, that you're on the cusp of greatness, being one of those teams to do something that's never been done before, but also go down in memory and history for greatness, for what you've accomplished. Still early, reaching that midway point, but they are on pace to be right up there with that 77 team, right up there with those teams in the mid-'80s. So It is phenomenal, Chuck. It's phenomenal to watch it. Hell, I think I got a sack last week. So.
They were flying around. I tell you what, it was beautiful to watch, and it was also great to watch the former players, alumni players, come back out and talk to them a little bit about what they've seen from this Jackson State team. There's a proud bunch watching this Jackson State team look like the Tiger days of yore.
Yeah, you probably saw in the pregame show where Coach Prime announced he was inviting former players to attend Thursday's practice. Man, too many to count showed up, even with it being Thursday morning of homecoming week. And they got to spend time on the sideline interacting with players and coaches. But Coach Prime let them tour the building and then sat them down in the W.C. Vivian Gordon lecture theater for just a Q&A session that went on for about 30 minutes. And we're going to bring you some of those segments, throughout the week. Great conversation and opening the doors to former players. And he told them, whatever we are built off of you, and we're just trying to take it to another level.
No doubt about it. And those guys were so pleased to get that look-see into that program now. So kudos to Coach Prime for opening up the doors for those alumni players, getting the opportunity to be a part of this movement that is Jackson State football. Well, let's get right into it, Neely. Let's take a look at this Campbell Camel team from the Big South. We'll talk to their play-by-play voice, Chris Heymer. So he will take a deep dive into this Campbell Camel football team. Let's take a look at that. And welcome back into the pregame show, Charles Bishop, and I am here with my counterpart from the Campbell Camels, Chris Heymer, his play-by-play voice of the Camels. Welcome into the pregame show.
Hey, thank you so much, Charles. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, really looking forward to this matchup this upcoming Saturday. Jackson State steps out of conference to take on the Campbell Camels, but you see this team up close every week. Talk a little bit about the Campbell Camels coming into Jackson.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of similarities, and I'll go back to the fact that a lot of your fans probably have not heard of Campbell, and that's not because they haven't been doing a good job here, but in this modern era of football, Campbell has only had a team for 15 years. And on top of that, they've only been scholarship for 5 years. So when they started 15 years ago, they were a FCS non-scholarship team. That puts you in the Pioneer Football League and puts you against teams like San Diego and Drake and Butler. It's sort of an incubator for new FCS programs or programs that have had it for over 100 years. So this is just the 5th year of scholarship football for Campbell, and they're really making a splash. A little bit of a similarity, nowhere near the fame of Coach Prime, who of course is one of the most famous NFL players and athletes of all time. But Mike Minter, who is in his 10th year as a head coach of the Fighting Camels, he was a starter in the secondary for the Carolina Panthers for nearly 10 years. Won an NFC championship, went to a Super Bowl, lost on a last-second field goal with Tom Brady and the Patriots. And if you knew NFL football, or especially if you knew the Carolina Panthers 2 decades ago, you knew who Mike Minter was. He not only was a great player, but he was a darling of the media. Whether you won or lost, whether the Panthers lost by 40 or won by 40, the local media knew that they could go to Coach Minter and they could get a good quote. So he's always had that great reputation. It was an out-of-a-box hire here. He had really only been a head coach at the non-D1 level, but he has really brought notoriety to this team, brought him from non-scholarship to scholarship. And now they, like Jackson State 2 years ago, last year, their claim to fame was the #1 recruiting class in all of FCS, and they're battling with Jackson State to get another great recruiting class. They have built for this year. They finally have depth. They have some homegrown talent. Haj Malik Williams is a mobile quarterback that can make all the throws. Julian Hill, the leading receiver for Campbell, is a tight end that is going to make his way into an NFL camp this summer if he doesn't get drafted. And they have some NFL prospects on the defensive side as well. Brevin Allen is the defensive player of the year in the Big South Conference. And that's why people around here are so excited about this game as well, because they think this is their best team they've had here at Campbell ever. And what a test it would be to go take on a top 10 team in Jackson State.
No doubt. And speaking to that talent, we were obviously going to talk about the quarterback, Haj Malik Williams, and on the defensive side of the ball, Brevin Allen on cue. Both of these players were Big South players of the week this past week. Malik Williams, 26 of 35, 249 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Talk a little bit about him as a quarterback.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is an FBS talent. Originally out of high school, he was signed to go to Army. They put him in prep school for a year. He realized that he liked the football, but he didn't like the Army lifestyle. So he looked for a place to land. Campbell had recruited him out of high school. He's an Atlanta, Georgia native, and he truly found a home here. He's a mobile quarterback that can really beat you with his feet. He was a leading rusher on this team 2 years ago when he was the freshman offensive player of the year in the Big South Conference. But he's one of those guys that scrambling will be his last option now that he's matured into the quarterback that he is. He has an unbelievable arm. He has unloaded some flat-footed 60-yard bombs this year. He has a great he has a great repertoire with his wide receivers that he can fit. And then if things break down, he can pick up first downs. He can turn something into nothing. He avoids sacks, and he also can extend the play for his wide receivers to get open. He's really become a leader this year. Those around FCS might not notice the name, even though he's been here for 4 years. He had an amazing 2019, like I said, where he was the freshman of the year. He was the preseason player of the year in the Big South Conference in 2020. And of course, 2020 happened. Campbell did not play a conference season that year. They bought a new locker room by playing 4 FBS teams in the fall. They didn't play anybody in the spring of 2021. And then last year, Malik Williams was injured for the majority of the year. So this is a big comeback to a guy that has always had talent, but now has matured into what we think is one of the better quarterbacks of all of FCS.
No doubt. On the defensive side of the ball, NFL prospect, 6'4", 265 pounds, Brevin Allen. Again, defensive player of the week last week, 3 sacks in a game against Robert Morris. Talk a little bit about him.
He's great, and he's really coming to his own because he has been on NFL draft boards, and because he came in as the preseason defensive player of the year and the defending player of the year. You could tell he was pressing a little too much. He was also getting double and triple teamed. Josh Johnson, who's a good player, the other defensive end, you'll see his numbers are really good because they weren't paying a lot of attention to him. Now they realize the other DN and Johnson that Campbell has is pretty good. So the double teams have gone away, and Brevin has busted out. Last week, 3 sacks and an interception. And Charles, that was all in the first half. Campbell was up big at halftime against an overmatched Robert Morris team and pulled all of their starters after the first series in the third quarter. So Brevin Allen did all that, tied a record for sacks in a game for Campbell, and he did it in one half. That's the kind of talent he is and why he's going to end up in an NFL camp somewhere this summer.
Man, looking forward to it. This is going to be an exciting matchup, first-time matchup, Jackson State and Campbell. Jackson State's homecoming, looking for a huge crowd. Man, looking forward to seeing you when you get to Jackson. It's going to be a tremendous game.
Yeah, we can't wait. We've seen the atmosphere, and again, this is a Campbell team that lost early in the year to a top 10 ranked William and Mary team. 3 interceptions by Malik Williams, our quarterback, in that, and so now they think that they've figured out the offense. They have some flow, so this is a test and probably one of the biggest games of the short modern history of Campbell football. So as excited as you all are, we're as excited too. We can't wait to see you.
Sure thing. It is a 2:00 kickoff from Mississippi Patriots Memorial Stadium. Jackson State University taking on the Campbell Camels. Look forward to it. We'll see you there. That was Chris Heymer. He brought to us the Campbell Camels. Neely, he mentions a couple of names. We start on the offensive side of the ball. The quarterback, Malik Williams. He comes into this game. He's thrown for almost 1,400 yards and rushed for 244 yards, 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions on the year. Interesting note, he mentioned 3 of those interceptions came in one game.
And facing a strong defense, but a defense not as strong as ours. A couple of things I want to point out that he mentioned there. You know, the similarity between these 2 head coaches in their NFL experience, but also their relationships with the media and branding and that kind of thing. So, you know, you got 2 high-profile guys from the NFL who have not met in person, but think the world of each other. You can tell in their pregame commentary and press conferences. that they are both excited about this matchup. Speaking of Malik Williams, number 4, their quarterback, one of the things he said that, a lot of times the local press, they're just like us, Chuck. You got your thing. You carry the water a little bit. This quarterback reminds me a lot of Jalen Jones, formerly at Jackson State down at Bethune. Great point. That I don't know how much they're actually reading that defense and going through all those progressions. Normally it's first read ain't open, I'm using my legs. That's why he's one of the leading rushers on the team, got more runs than their running back has. So going to have to be a lot of eye discipline with the linebackers to make sure, he doesn't take off and run just because it looks like a pass, and they do some things out of RPO as well. But, man, great talk to get that Campbell version of what they're looking for when they come to Jackson.
On the defensive side of the ball, he mentioned the name Brevin Allen, 6'4", 250 pounds, defensive end, edge rusher. He has postseason invites to the Hula Bowl and East-West Shrine game, but definitely a name for us to keep an eye on today. Yeah,
definitely a name to watch. They don't blitz a lot. It'd be interesting to see if they change that up against us, but they're not known to be film-wise a blitzing team. But offensively, they do run tempo. Their last game, they had 101 plays that they got off. So our defense, the stamina gang, it don't stop. It's going to have to come to bear and be ready when that ball is placed down, because they really get a number of plays off. And the key to getting that squashed is making sure that we, once again, as I said, those national stats, do well in third down, getting those guys off the field on third down.
No doubt. They also have a 4-star defensive back in Miles Rouser there on the defensive side of the ball. Well, let's shift gears now, Neely. Let's bring in our own analysts. And one of the things about the analysts, they get into the blood and guts of the opposing team. Brandon Morton for our own Jackson State Tigers. Let's welcome him into the pregame show as we get some look-see into what they see from an analyst perspective. Brandon, welcome back into the pregame show, bro.
Sir, nice. Appreciate you guys for having me, man.
No doubt. This Campbell team, they're 2-0 in the Big South, 4-2 thus far. They mentioned Chris Heymer mentioned a couple of names. So we'll start on the offensive side of the ball. I mentioned Malik Williams. Talk a little bit about what you've seen thus far from this Campbell team on film.
So Hodge, he's an elite quarterback. He's probably one of the best quarterbacks we played thus far this season. He's a guy from Atlanta, redshirt junior, and he likes to run the ball. As you see, he's the second leading rusher, as Neely once touched on, and he likes to throw outside the numbers. He throws to the hash. Third and long, a lot of times we'll see him third and long, he will tuck it and run. It's kind of cliche, because usually you see guys on third and long, they want to stretch the field, throwing the ball downfield. But third and long, if you get behind him, he will rush right up the field. So you have to contain him. And we got an elite linebacker core with Aubrey Miller and everybody. So they're on their P's and Q's, DT and Coach Hart, they will have them locked in. And I just want to tell you, these are one of the games where, man, when I woke up this morning, you don't need no alarm clock. It just gets you going. I came up this morning, the theme song that played me for this morning was Ric Flair's theme song, The Nature Boy. When he comes up, as soon as I woke up, man, that's the song that came on in my head, and I was like, man, it's going to be a good day.
Yes, indeed.
Golly. I can feel it. But
it's going to be a good day, man. And as you said, Brandon, that quarterback will use those legs, and they like to take shots downfield, early. They're not too big on completing them when you look at their percentages, but they do throw that ball deep. And the film I've seen, it appears to be the further the pass, the accuracy drops off. And so, they're a threat to go over the top, but not a lot of success in it. What are you guys looking at as far as our secondary and safety play?
Secondary and safety play, we noticed that Hodge, his number one target is this guy named Julian Hill, who's a tight end from Fayetteville, North Carolina. He's a senior, big body guy, 6'4", 250. He likes to stay on the outside. He'll chip for a second and release out. Stick guys, third and long, or third and short, third and medium. He's looking for 85. He keeps him right outside to his throwing side. Hodge is right-handed, so that's his first read a lot of the times. And with Hodge having that big, one of the biggest O-lines in the FCS, those guys 6'8", 350. They got some big guys. They don't handle movement well, but if you let Hodge sit in that pocket and get relaxed, he will dink and dunk. He'll take what the defense gives them. So our DBs, it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be physical. We got to jam them at the line, put hands on them early, and trust that our D-line, the first phase, they'll get to the quarterback. And if everybody does their job, it's going to set up everybody for success. So it starts with the D-line. The D-line has to have a big day. Coach Prom put that on us last night in our meeting. He said, D-line, it starts with you. But when we touch the field for the first play, whether we go on kickoff and the defense takes the field first, the first people who are going out is 97, Devontae Davis, those big guys. You will lead us on this field tonight. So it all starts with them.
Brandon, I wanted to touch on something because you mentioned this offensive line for Campbell. They are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in FCS football. Like from a defensive perspective, how do you go about attacking an offensive line that is big as they are?
Well, we noticed with the team they played, William and Mary in Eastern Carolina, what they did was they stayed from in front of the big guys. They don't handle movement well. So if you give them a full target and they get hands on you, it's going to be a long day. They're good, but they don't handle lateral movement well. And we have those guys like Jeremiah Brown who can bend the edge, who can get around and make a miss. So if you play a finesse game and you get into the shades, you get them and you split them, give them a half target, and make them miss. So it's got to be good feet, good hands, moving them out the way, getting them off their spots. Because when you're in front of them, those big guys, they're good. They play physical, they get downhill, and they're tall. So we have those guys like True Thompson this week. He's going to be a big factor. I think he's going to have a great day because he's shorter, and in football, low man wins. If you can get up under those guys and drive them back, and also make them miss off the edge. Don't rush too far downhill. Keep everything in front of you. Don't let Hodge get out the pocket. Make those guys miss. Bring pressure, and also cap number 85. Number 85, Julian Hill, the senior. He has 358 yards this season, leading with, I think, 23 receptions and 2 touchdowns. So that's his first read. If you get around, Hodge is going to look to the outside and try to hit 85. So if we send this pressure at him, it's going to be a long day.
Hey, Brandon, you're giving red meat out there, baby. Sometimes we try to do football 101, and you went to 401 talking about shade, talking about 3 techs and shade. So I know it's some people out there scratching their head because they just look at the final score. But we're gonna educate the people because I love getting into the personnel groupings. And one thing about this team is 78% of the time they're in 11 personnel. And to the folks out there watching, 1 running back, 1 tight end, and that, as you said, he loves his tight end play. So tight end play, we're probably facing today one of the biggest and best tight ends that we've seen or will see as far as that matchup goes. You got Shiloh Sanders back, at safety. You're going to have, John Huggins out there at time and his high football OQ and body. Talk to us about, when they're in that 78 personnel and what they look to do when they're passing or running or RPOing it.
When they're passing the ball, like I said, Hodge, he looks to the outside. That's why who's ever our weak side linebacker, with this John Huggins, he's going to have a great day, a great opportunity to make a lot of plays and get paid because he looks to the outside, and usually whether it's K5, Trevor Wiggins, or the man, the myth, the legend, 1-2, we all know who that is. But I'm going to say that for later. He's going to have a good day. So with Aubrey Miller and those guys, John Huggins playing on 85, he's a great tight end. Like you said, he can play. He's physical. Not the fastest guy, but he knows what he's doing. He knows how, if he plays zone, he knows how to sit in the zone, find those sweet spots, and he has high IQ. So with that, we just got to make sure that we can get Hodge to get him uncomfortable to throw it into the middle of the field, which he doesn't want to do. So if we get that pressure on him, he kind of holds the ball longer because they have a fast tempo. I think last game versus Robert Morris, they ran about 100 plays. It was crazy. Breaking down that film, they ran 100 offensive plays.
Wow.
So they like to run tempo, try to get your guys tired. But hey, this is what we do. Especially we always have the wheels to go and a good stamina, like I said, stamina game. So it's gonna be crazy.
Brandon, last thing I'm gonna touch on with you. You mentioned 1-2, Travis Hunter. The dynamic that he brings to this team. Talk a little bit about him.
Travis Hunter, he is a coach's dream. And he sets the standard. He has a kind of prime factor to him. That's why once I've been around him, I see why he made the decision he made. Because looking at him and seeing Coach Prime's ego and how he does things, it reminds me of Travis. He loves ball. I've never seen a young kid that loves football that much. That's all he thinks about. When you see him at practice, you know, he'll go run his first team defensive reps, swap over, get right on offense, don't complain, don't say nothing. He's always preparing himself. He's one of those guys who's in the office, watching film, asking questions, and soaking that wisdom from his tools he has around him. He goes, asks Coach Prime, hey, like you said, watch me when we're doing one-on-ones. Coach me up. He wants to get better. And so that kind of spreads throughout the rest of the defense because, you know, we got Cam Silman, which I call him the captain. He gets it going. He communicates, puts everybody in spots, and they build that trust with one another because they have the captain calling it, and they understand that our DBs, whether it's K5 and 12, they're there mentally. We're all on the same page. They know what to look for. They're prepared well. So Travis, I think he's going to have a great day today. He's going to have a great day. Yes, sir.
No doubt.
Hey, Brandon, man, you know, we appreciate you becoming the regular on the pregame show. Shout out to your family, as y'all say, Carolina. I can't say Carolina like y'all say Carolina.
Atlanta. Yes, sir. And one thing I wanted to hit on, I've seen this a lot of times. Our running back 36, his name is Savion Wilkerson. I've seen people shred his name up all year, call him all types of stuff.
Hey, man, I call him 3-6 Mafia, baby. Like he is a one-man gang, and you know. And speaking of Coach Morton, like this team, this Camel team with Campbell Camels, this team is known to give up a lot of running yards. So I am looking for our running backs by committee. I'm looking for 3-6 Mafia, for Tito, for JD to really get some big runs today.
Yes, sir. Savion, I call him Mad Dog, man. Because when he gets that ball, he runs so violent. Every time he gets off the field to make a big play, I give him a hug. Because I say, 360, the way you run, I can tell you want to hug a lot when you were little, were you? Like, I can tell by the way you run. You have violent intentions. He always smiling. He's a great kid. But when he gets that ball, he turns into a Tasmanian devil. He doesn't die hard. His knees are pumping. He brings the pain. I love watching when he gets the ball. I love watching those linebackers. They kind of hold their breath when he gets the ball. They put their head down like, man, I don't want to.
Here you come.
He's coming for you. I tell them all the time, we do the hunting. Nobody hunts us. We're the apex predator. We're the tigers. So when you get the ball, they know, oh, they're coming for me. No, you coming for them.
Yeah, well said. And speaking of Mad Dog, that's exactly what Chuck Bishop was on at the block party. I got the
video. That 2020.
he was on there, man. Coach Brandon, man, we're gonna see you shortly. Much love. Thank you for checking in with the pregame show.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
I tell you what, Neely, those guys, Kendall Adams, Brandon Morgan, Gunnar White, Andrew Zimmer, man, they all bring it. I mean, they put that time in. You know, someday they're going to be tremendous position coaches, coordinators, head coaches. They are phenomenal in terms of breaking teams down for our opponents.
Yes, sir, man. As I said before, one of the things I'm excited about, is the future. To see where members of this staff, end up. Because when you look at those coaching trees, whether it's Landry and the people he touched or Parcells and the people he touched and how they become the Sabins and the Chip Kellys of the world. Like, I want to see where these guys are going to end up 10, 5, 15, 20 years from now because they know their stuff. Hey, one thing we got to touch on, Chuck, we talked about some national stats as we get ready to wrap this thing up. QB1 is the hype ain't hype. Like, he is deserving of being in this Heisman conversation. So let me throw you some numbers, Chuck, of where Grown is, Legendary 2 is right now coming to this game nationally. Completion percentage, 4th in the nation. Completions per game, 1st in the nation. Passing TDs, 1st in the nation. Passing yards, 3rd in the nation. Passing yards per game, 3rd in the nation. Points responsible for, 3rd in the nation. Points responsible for per game, 3rd in the nation. Total offense under him, 3rd in the nation. So when people tell you that this Heisman chatter and that what are y'all talking about, what are y'all doing down there 1400 Lynch Street hyping this guy up like this, it ain't hype. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Numbers never lie. There it is right there. No better place to put a pin in it. We take a look at the offensive keys, and Brandon mentioned it. This game is going to be one with that running game in terms of getting them up and going, getting this offense into a groove. From a defensive perspective, defensive line, they are the key to this game. They're going to have a big game. Neely, what's your take?
I got a couple of them. Start fast. You know what we did in Bethune-Cookman with that 21-0 first quarter. This is a team that's coming in here and they're looking to identify themselves. You heard their media guy say it. This is their measuring stick. How do they stack up against Jackson State? Can they come in here and get a win? Part of them not getting that win is us starting fast and taking that life out of them, letting them know, man, you were in the vet and it's going to be a long day. And it's almost like Thunder Lips did when he was that game with Rocky. Yeah, I'm not done with the meatball. You don't count him out. We got to start fast. The other thing we got to do, Chuck, is eliminate those negative plays. We're gonna have penalties. Penalties are understandable, but you got to get your football IQ up and make sure you're not having those penalties at the wrong time. When it's 3rd and 5, that's not when you want to jump off sides and try to get a sack, and you end up giving them a first down. When you know there's a slant to Dallas Daniels going across the middle of the end zone, and you know 2 is going to hit him, that's not the time to hold. That was you eliminating a score and you pushing the ball back. Eliminate plays, and Chuck, eliminate the turnovers. All while being physical. We got to clean up that turnover game, keep the ball off the ground, keep the ball out of the opponent's hands. Chuck, if we do those things, and starting with that start fast, it's going to be a beautiful day in Tigerland.
No doubt about it. It's going to be a beautiful day in Tigerland. Let me mention this. Fans, it is a blue out. A lot of fans ask us, what are the colors? What are the colors? Home colors, blue, solid colors. On the road, white. Okay. My truckers, they've inboxed me. Where can we hear the game? You can hear the game on XM satellite channel 378. Swag Hall of Famer Rob J. and Daryl Asbury on the call. And of course, you're here locally. You can hear it on 95.5 here in Jackson. What you got, Neil?
Hey, hey, man, my babysitter was the TV. So, when I hear stuff like that, when you said your truckers, all I see is good times with Fun Girl in the wheelchair on the ham radio over to the projects. Chuck, you got the truckers, baby. I love it. Tell Fun Girl to say hello.
It's sad. We remember so many of the same things, movie, sitcom.
Hey, Fun Girl was the first catfish, man.
Yeah, she was. Fun Girl was the first catfish.
Yeah, she didn't keep it 100, man. She didn't keep it 1,000.
It is a 2:00 kickoff from Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium. The pregame show, of course, will be there. Hey, we're looking forward to Homecoming 2022. And when we see you again, we will break down the good, the bad, the ugly from this Campbell game and get ready for the Southern Jaguars as they come into Jackson. So we will break that thing down and get ready for that game. But first things first, Jackson State, Campbell Camels.
Well, you always know when looking ahead, Chuck, you always know when Southern's been in town, the toilet don't flush and the cat's pregnant when they leave. So that's what happens. But back to this game against these Camels out of the Carolina area. Chuck, Jackson State by 24 plus. Let's call it 38-14, Jackson State.
38-14 is your call. I like that. I was thinking, got to get to the 30s. I was thinking 31-13. I still love my Jackson State defense. You know my motto, and Dennis Thurman, we trust. He has not proved me wrong. Looking forward to it, man. Got to get on over to the stadium, man. Let's break this thing down. On 3, on me.
Hey, yeah. I'm going to have to get with Coach Mo and get some of that put on my nose. Hey, shout out to Tito's Vodka for sponsoring my homecoming.
You know how we close things out. In the words of the voter, Coach Left, we got a team, by golly. We going to win, by golly. We going to fight, by golly. Let's get after it. Jackson State football today, 2:00 kickoff. The pregame show, Bishop and Neely. When we see you again, we'll come back midweek. We'll break it down. Until next time, Bishop, Neely, the pregame show here on the Black College Network. Shout out to our sponsors, Cadillac of Jackson, the Cochran Firm, Chambers and Galen, Amber Slaughter, the project architect, and of course, the cool, refreshing liquid of BioSteel.
BioSteel, designed to rehydrate you and keep you going, also goes well with Tito's Vodka.
We out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for all those who's listening and watching it from around the world, And we are now live from the corner of Dalton and Lynch Street. It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the Pregame. With your host, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready, because we pregame harder than the other show's party. It's the Pregame.